Welcome everybody, welcome to my lunchtime live stream. We've got a special event today because live in the studio, actually we're in another studio, but the benefits of communication, I've got Daniel Hobbs, the Managing Director of New Leaf Distribution. So we're going to have a conversation today, a live conversation, so people can ask questions afterwards. We'll open up for questions about half an hour's time there or thereabouts. But I'm really interested to find out about Daniel's perceptions and ideas around the migration to financial advisor. So it's mortgage broker to financial advisor, and that's where we're going. So I've talked quite a bit so far, so I'm going to say hello to Daniel. Good morning, Daniel.
Hi, Paul. You okay today? How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. And I hope it's very sunny over there in Southend. Am I?
You know, it's not just behind me. There's that side. Not just behind me. This sun artwork. It's actually beautiful. It's beautiful out here today. To be fair, it's lovely. I'm in Rayleigh in Essex at the moment. Head office. We just moved actually from Southend to Rayleigh recently.
Got it.
And we got a lovely new office here, and it's beautiful day. Beautiful day for it. But yeah, thanks for having me on your podcast today.
My pleasure, and it's good to see you and hear you as well, of course. Okay, let's get down to some questions. Got a few people joining us live now as we speak, which is great. So we're going to open up for questions, guys, a little bit later on. So if you want to think of your questions, you can certainly give a few minutes to answer those. So topic today then, let's just allow ourselves to be clearly seen here. There we are. Topic today is financial advisors. And particularly interested, Daniel, in your views about financial advisor migration and things. So let's talk about that. Yeah. So first thing is, what is the what's the reward, first of all, for a mortgage broker to become a financial advisor? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I guess it was good just to start the context of why I can talk about this subject as well, because we at New Leaf, our network is an IFA network. We've got lots of mortgage advisors though that we've built over the years. You know, we're 22 years into the process now, and we actually launched the IFA side in about 2014. So it's our youngest division, basically. It's like eight or 9 years now, but it's our youngest division. So what we've been doing a lot of is transitioning our mortgage advisor community into IFA. So that's something that we do as a strategy point within our network, is really assisting with that process. So yeah, it's a really big thing for us. Like we like to say we specialize in that. But yeah, we obviously believe the rewards are worthwhile, or we wouldn't push our guys to move over, because we've got this. Don't get me wrong, we've got some fantastic mortgage advisors who do very well, got amazing businesses, but we're still encouraging them to make that move. And I guess the answer to the question really is all about how you interact with customers. So with a mortgage customer, you can have a lovely business, like we have loads of great businesses, but it's very transactional. The nature of your relationship with your customer, with a mortgage client, you might see them do a great job, but it could be a 5-year fix, a 3-year fix, but it's still realistically speaking, there's not that much interaction between the next time you see them. And there's also no guarantee you're going to retain the client. So you've got to do a lot of work to retain them anyway, because 5 years is a long time. Yes, you might do some protection, you might do the odd call here and there, they might have a lifestyle change, but a lot of brokers, they're always looking for new business. They're always looking for the next person. And therefore, it's not surprising to me that a lot of advisors out there struggle to retain their customers on the mortgage side. And that's something that, generally speaking, across the UK is something that brokers have to manage, and it's quite tough. Difference for an IFA is that you are now becoming more of a coach. So rather than just transacting with a customer, you are actually coaching them, you're educating them, you're with them on a journey for a long period of time. And that's partly because of the ongoing servicing you have to do with customers. So it's not just, right, let's invest some of your money, let's put it into some funds, do some stocks, do ISAs, and then we're going to not talk to you for 5 years. Actually, it's an ongoing agreement. We have to speak to our client at least yearly, but probably you're going to be talking to them all the time. Or say all the time, but you're going to talk to them quite regularly about as things change, and that becomes a very different animal. Then you've actually now got a coaching business, which I think is quite rewarding. So that's one. It's not just about money. Obviously, income is good. Okay, so let's not get it wrong. Income is very good as well, and you will earn. If you do it right, you will earn good money on this. But I find from a lifestyle side as well, you're not always hunting for new business. You haven't got to keep repeating it again. We've got brokers do $250,000 a year in mortgages, but then they've got to reset next year. You've got to do it all again from zero. Whereas if you can build up your funds under management as an IFA to up to £10 million, now it sounds like a lot, 10 million. It really isn't, actually. You can pick up an everyday customer, retail client. They could have £500,000 pension pot.
Right, that counts. Yeah.
So that would be one. That's a big chunk of that 10 million, really. So you can build that up, and that 10 million will probably yield you somewhere between sort of 70 to 90,000 a year in income, in ongoing income. So that's repetitive income, because it's being paid through as an ongoing servicing agreement. So it's really, really powerful, because that gives you time to focus on your business. You can actually pick and choose. You get to a point where you don't have to keep hunting for new clients either.
Yeah.
So it's rewarding because you're actually, you're really helping these clients build their wealth over time, or you're helping them, live a great lifestyle in their retirement, or you get into a later stage and you're helping them transfer monies and wealth across to the next generation, and doing it in a way that is going to make their families' lives a lot easier when they pass. So I think that's a really powerful thing to do as a client. I think it's for me, if I was sitting there on my deathbed, I would really want to know that I've made it really easy for my family to have everything sorted. I don't want to have like random investments hidden away, and that no one knows about these things. The market pool as well for investments that are being sort of lost. It's billions, just uninherited right now, sitting there. No one knows. No one knows these things exist. So good financial planning is a great reward for you financially, but also from a lifestyle perspective for you as your business. And I guess the final point on that, I know I don't want to talk too much on one question.
No, this is interesting. This is really interesting. Yeah.
Okay, well, looks good. you can sack me if you want to. You can say, no, Dan, get out of here. The final point is then valuable as well. You can actually exit. So you get near retirement and you want to exit. Maybe you can, you might have successors. You might have somebody coming in to take your business. That's great. But you might just want to sell the business. And you can do that with an IFA firm, because that ongoing wealth, people will pay for that. And they'll pay you quite handsomely for it as well. Whereas a mortgage business on its own, really, I don't want to say there's no value in it. It's not true. There is value in a mortgage business, because the client database is data. It's data is valuable, of course it is.
Yeah.
But because it's transactional and because it's very much about the broker's relationship and retain those customers, you can't really sell that on. You can't sell that book on. So it's more like an introducer type arrangement where you might earn a residual income from people then looking after your book afterwards. Whereas the IFA one, you can actually sell, and you can sell your income, your IFA business, typically like 3 to 4 times the income you generate. So that can be a nice way out for people at the end as well when they come to their careers, which is obviously a good thing if that's what you're looking for as well.
Wow. So loads and loads of advantages there as becoming a financial advisor. And, years ago, because I practiced as a financial advisor myself, so I'm fully aware of those. And running your own business, migrating from mortgage advisor to financial advisor seems to be full of advantages. And you and I were talking about the amount of money, amount of wealth that's going to be inherited from the boomers, as we like to call them, to the Gen Zs and the Gen Ys, mostly probably.
I get confused which ones are which now, to be honest.
The old people, to the younger people. So there's an awful lot of money. I mean, what sort of numbers have you got in your head on that? Are we talking?
It is astronomical. I can't put a figure on it, but it's huge. It is huge. The opportunity for advisors coming into this industry now. Because this intergenerational wealth piece is happening. So we've been talking about it internally for the last 6-7 years, like as a group, like not just Newleaf, but within industry firms getting together and talking about like challenges and opportunities coming up. And that's been on the agenda for a long time, is talking about how are we going to manage this, because there's not enough advisors. You'd be thinking, well, this is great, isn't it? You're thinking, right, hey guys, we got all these amazing clients coming in. We can't do it. There's not enough people out there serving these potential customers, and that's the shame, because then they're going to be lost, and these customers aren't going to have any help. So we're at a really pivotal moment. We've got a lot of advisors who are towards the end of their careers. To be fair, there is definitely a transfer happening. We're seeing, our network. Average age of our IFAs in their 40s, so we're quite young, really, against the grain compared to other networks. So the average IFA is a bit older than me, to be fair. I'm still a young gun, aren't I? But I'm not quite got the great hair to do the investment advice just yet.
Well, I have,
Maybe
so I'm all right.
you do need a little bit of grey hair, I think. But it's we're at mid-40s now, which I think is quite young actually. An average client profile is about 50, 54, around that sort of age range.
Is that changing?
So we're in an accumulation phase of big time. So we haven't got like these challenges where we're worried about clients retiring and so on, and what we're going to do with their pensions and things. We're still accumulating wealth, which is from our point of view is a very powerful position to be in, because it means everyone's growing, the wealth's going up, the IFAs are earning more money, and they're coaching their clients effectively. But yeah, that's going back to the original question. Obviously, we're going to have loads more people in that age banding who are going to be sort of like, I'd say, 45-ish to 55, who are going to start inheriting quite serious income.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Or serious wealth, sorry.
Yeah.
And these are people who are normal people, regular guys, and regular ladies and men, just going to be inheriting money, and it's loads, big amounts that they're not used to having, possibly as well. So we're not talking about ultra high net worth of clients here, regular Joes who are suddenly going to need lots of help because they're going to be inheriting cash, assets, and they won't know what to do with it. And we want to help them, don't we? So yeah, advisors have got a really big opportunity now coming into this stage, and especially advisors in that same sort of age bracket as well.
Right. Yes. So we're talking, because the mortgage brokers tend to be of a younger age, which is fine, because that's how people start.
Yeah.
And one or two have come back to me and said, "Look, Paul, my client bank is generally younger as well, like me. It's not the right client bank for a financial advisor. Has been the challenge." What I'm hearing from you is that the people inheriting this money are going to be younger anyway. Probably the client bank that the mortgage brokers have got.
That you got hit. That's it. You hit the nail on the head. So most of the clients, we're going to know them anyway from the mortgage, as their mortgage customers, because first time buyers now are quite like late 30s now, is it?
Late
early 40s,
early 30s, early 40s. Yeah. That's
So,
interesting. So the rapport is there, isn't it? The connection's there already with the client bank.
Yeah, exactly right. So that data is really key, key. And mortgage advisors don't realize how important it is to get the information, and they forget to note it down. So one of the things I would say to any mortgage advisors out there now who are thinking, you know what, I'd like to do this in the future, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but I want to think about that for later. Okay, you could do it in 5 years' time, no problem. But make it easier for yourself now by collecting the correct data from your clients. And I mean, be holistic. Talk about their pensions, their investments, talk about their objectives. You haven't got to be an IFA, talk about objectives, okay? You're not giving advice. It's asking open questions, which is what we're all told to do when we learn this game. Is all about open questions, get your clients to build rapport, understand their needs, which is obviously a way to do it, is to do that. So yeah, what are their objectives? What are they looking to do for the future? What's their plans in 10 years' time? What are they, how old are their kids? Are they going to be going to university? Are they going to go to a certain school that costs a fortune? How are they going to fund this? Is there marriage plans along the way, or loads of different things? We are expecting to have kids soon. So all these things we talk about, that gives us a general picture of our client. So as a mortgage broker, sometimes we can be too focused on the mortgage.
Yeah, blinkered. Yeah, get it quickly done.
It's a problem everyone has. Yeah. We all want to get the job done. We want to do it well. I get it, and we all have that sort of process, don't we? But it's just, you got to open up yourself a little bit. Yeah, just to see peripherally where you are, because that data is so important. It's going to be really important for you when you become an IFA as well.
All right, so let's have a quick summary where we are then. So the benefits of becoming a financial advisor, IFA, are innumerable, and we've seen that. You also mentioned quickly that there aren't enough IFAs or financial advisors in the marketplace because of the authorization routine, etc. There are not enough advisors to go around.
There's a lot of people left as well, Paul. Like going back to when diploma came in. I mean, when RDR hit, the Retail Distribution Review, back in 2011, 12, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's ages ago now. But then that required the advisors to get a level 4 qualification, get diploma in financial advice. Something that we both obviously back and we support, and we both train the I believe the LIBF versions we both back, don't we? So those courses, though, I think it's great. It's a barrier to entry, which is good.
Well, let's talk
All right.
about that now then, shall we? So lots of advantages to become a
Yeah.
financial advisor. You've also made some great points about the existing client bank of a mortgage broker, mortgage advisor. The existing client bank may well be inheriting money, but they have other needs as well as investments as well. And good questioning can bring out all the holistic needs of a client. So getting used to that now is a great thing. So let's say that our mortgage broker then wants to migrate to become a financial advisor.
Yeah. What are the steps?
Um, yeah,
Mm.
talk me through the steps and the challenges really.
Well, the
Um,
first big challenge is going to be the qualification itself. So you need
right,
to, be aware there is a requirement here to go on a diploma course and to sign up for one of those courses. So they're offered by the London Institute of Banking and Finance, which is the ones that we
LBF, yeah,
generally support.
yeah,
But you can also go to the CII, you can go to CISI as well. They've all got sort of versions of it. Um, but yeah, basically the outcome's the same. So whatever one you choose, guys, it
yeah.
doesn't matter because it's a level 4 qualification. It means you get the retail permissions to then give advice as an IFA or financial planner, depending on what route you go afterwards. It's a 9-month course. So generally speaking, from intake starting, it's 9 months to get your results.
Yeah.
And if I go by the LIBF, you've got 4 intakes in the year, and every quarter. And it's split into 3 parts. Multiple choice question paper, which is very similar to CMAP Module 1. If you've done CMAP and you've been a mortgage broker, most of you probably have got that one already. You remember CMAP 1, that's quite a similar test to that. And then you go into the bit that makes it really level 4, which is the coursework assignment and the final exam, which is a written exam. It was written when I did it, but now it's you type it on a computer now. But it's a free text exam,
Okay.
and you are essentially writing a report based on a client's fact find that's been pre-released to you, and you're giving advice. You're telling them what they should do with their assets and their monies and so on. So it's a good course. It gives you a good grounding. It doesn't mean then you can just become an IFA immediately after. So once you've gone through that
Yeah.
process,
Yeah.
you've got to then get authorized. So you still need to be certified, authorized, and the different routes in. I mean, for those
Well, let's
who
come on
already
to that in
are,
a second. Can I just
yeah,
come on to the authorization in a second? So
yeah,
back to the exam,
yeah,
the DIP-FA, which both you and I support.
yeah.
Can they do that whilst being a mortgage advisor? Is that normal practice from your
Yeah,
experience?
well, we do, yeah. So with our guys, because we don't train diploma publicly, we only train our internal
Yeah.
network, and obviously, that means we can really focus on the guys who want to do this transition. But they continue, yeah, they do. They continue being a mortgage broker in between. I mean, it says I say it's a 9-month course, but realistically speaking, it's those 3 parts are very isolated, and that for those 9 months, you're not studying every day. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously with courses that we put on, like you got your courses you do,
Yeah.
which are fantastic, great reputation in the industry. We do have our course internally, and it's all built around those 3 parts. It prepares you for that, for that those exams and that coursework you've got to write as well. So you'll
Right.
be fine. You'll be fine if you write about time. The mortgage
And of
broker
course,
is
as
not.
you said, they can get really good at fact finding at the same time with their own mortgage clients, can't they? They can start doing holistic
Yeah,
questioning
no,
as
that's
well.
actually right. You'll
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
you'll look because you'll learn about these products. You'll be like, wow, these are really
Yeah.
cool products that are available to me, will be available to me now. And it's the investment world is just so amazing. It's so interesting as well,
Yeah. It
and
is. It is.
everything's
Yeah.
so varied. Every client's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's fun to be honest.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So exams out of the way then. So
yeah.
what's the authorization steps then? Because this is going to be new to many mortgage advisors, and this is where
Yeah,
the
so
speaking comes
you'll
in.
be obviously now at this point what we call a pre-CAS advisor. So you need to work towards your competent advisor status. Now there's a bit of a thing here in the industry about CAS generally. So we talk about it a lot in the mortgage side as well, but technically speaking, CAS only exists for IFAs. So the regulator doesn't actually talk about CAS for mortgage brokers, but it's something that we as networks have just put in place as a way of monitoring new advisors. So so the key thing for us is on the IFA side, it's a lot more focused to go through this proper CAS process, and therefore there is a lot more supervision on an IFA than there would be potentially on a mortgage broker. And that goes beyond just what we do. There's also CPD requirements that you have to go through as well on top of your training you do your network. You need to get your CPD accredited outside your network with one of the accredited partners. And again, LIBF can do that for you as well. They can look at your CPD and sign that off. And every year you get a statement to say that you basically have retained your knowledge that you that you learned from doing the diploma in the first place. So that's one thing just to be aware of. It's not really a big deal. It's quite simple to do, and if you're with a good partner like us, then obviously we'll keep you trained up and help you. So that's okay. And you can also listen to Paul's great content on his YouTube channel and all his other stuff he does. So that keeps you up to date as well. But in terms of the actual practical element, then we need to get you signed up. So what we do is we certify you with the regulator. We go on to do that. We do an induction course. So there's a week-long course with us face to face. We go through then the actual sales process properly, compliance rules, product information again. So, what you've learned from diploma is going to be a good foundation, but it's not enough to get to make you start. There's lots of work to be done. And then when you then do actually finish that, and we can then say, right, here's certificate to trade. And then how you trade depends on whether you're called an AR or not. But that's a whole nother piece, I think, talking about ARs and stuff right now. I mean, most of the good guys listening, I guess, might be, if they're already mortgage brokers, maybe ARs or whatever already, which is good. But another podcast talk about all this stuff, I'd say. Okay. When you're certified, though, whichever way that is, then we need to supervise you. And with New Leaf, what we'll do is work with you in the first 8 meetings. So we'll be observing 8 meetings. You're working with the same supervisor for that whole process. So you're not being chop and change, seeing different people. And then also we have a full in-house power planning unit that help you with your admin as well. So that is unique for us, for our advisors. And that's because we believe in the IGT principle, which is focusing on income generating tasks. Advisors shouldn't be doing admin if they can avoid it. So we can help. So we can help there, especially on the IFA side, because we can take a lot of that legwork away with our in-house research team and investment team. We call them power planners. Yes. That's the sort of colloquial term across the industry. But the power planners are basically an investment research team. They work in the background on each case that comes through from the advisor. The advisor retains the advice. It's their client. But we are then behind the scenes just making sure the paperwork's there, the client's money is being invested on time, the systems are being updated properly, the files are in place. So actually we take care of all the back-end compliance work. It really helps out. Yeah, and people love that.
Because is there a lot in comparison with a mortgage broker? Is there more compliance and paperwork and that sort of thing?
I think the paperwork aspect is probably like you got illustrations, you got all the sort of similar sort of things, you got application forms to do. But the good thing about investments is you're not waiting for a sale to go through, right? So once you're ready to hit that investment, it's done. You're going to get paid, so you get paid a bit quicker per case, which is really good. But the actual sort of compliance, that the risk is a lot higher because now if we make a mistake, then we could actually lose clients. We could lose the money if we're not careful. We make a human error mistake, whereas a mortgage is sort of like, well, it's a mortgage. We know if it happens, it doesn't happen. To be honest, like mortgages, there's risky ones depending on the clients, but it's very clear cut, isn't it? What you do, it's quite that sort of process is like mapped out. Every mortgage is more or less the same process. But an IFA case, it's very different because the products are so varied. So having that backup support from the admin department that is then taking responsibility of that admin function for you is a massive, massive plus for a new advisor who really can't make mistakes.
Yeah, I can see the risk as being far more vital and important. It's almost like cycling along a road and then suddenly you pass your driving, and now you're driving along a road. There's more risk. There's more involved.
Yeah,
you need all sorts of aspects there. Interesting.
Exactly. But delegation is the key thing here. Delegating tasks to the right people, and that's what we allow people to do with us anyway.
Brilliant. Okay. Let's talk about people who are on the call here, who are probably mostly ARs, self-employed, mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are employed positions as financial advisors, and that's not where you focus. I get that totally. Although, do you deal with any employed advisors in your role?
It depends if some of the firms who work with us employ anyone, but I don't know anyone who does employ IFAs, to be honest, in our network. But,
what about in the bigger, wider world? Are there any employers of IFAs?
Yes, there are, but you need to go through like a program that you'll be working as a power planner. You'll be working full time. It'd be probably like a city role in London, or one of those sort of West End roles where you're going to one of the sort of like a Brewing Dolphin type place, like that sort of like fund manager environment where you then work as a financial advisor within that company for their own clients. So it's very restricted. It depends on the corporate role. You know, if you want that sort of route, then that's great. My cousin's done exactly that. So he's become a power planner at a young age. He went to
worked his way up.
Went to one of those firms, and he's now on that route to financial advisor. But obviously, it takes a long time, doesn't it, to do it? The good thing about doing self-employment is you just get and do it straight away. So it's really about speed, being able to do it yourself, building your own brand. It's your business, the clients are yours, and if you do choose to be independent, then you can use anybody. So you can you're putting your hat on one day, your Vanguard, next day your Canaccord, next day your HSBC Global. It's fun. It's great. You're choosing the funds because they're the best for clients, not because you necessarily work for
proper independent financial advisor, isn't it? As opposed to being sort of restricted.
Which is a niche now. A lot of people go restricted, even self-employed, because a lot of network partners that are out there have their own funds, and obviously they encourage you to use their funds. So there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean the clients have necessarily got the wrong outcomes, but it just depends on what you want from your business. Do you want to work essentially for a network and give them clients, or do you want to work for yourself and build your own business that you can build and flourish with?
And you do the latter, don't you? At New Leaf, you let people flourish.
Obviously.
Yeah, no.
Independence is key for us. Yeah, the culture of our business is all about independence. So being fully independent for IFA, how we're owned is really independent. There's no third party ownership issues, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, absolutely right. But
Brilliant.
It's a big step for advisors, though. I mean, it's
a huge step.
It is, and I think the mortgage brokers on the call today, just to be aware that maybe I make it sound easy to where I talk about. I'm quite enthusiastic about these sort of subjects, but it isn't easy. And we've got countless advisors who've done this, and not everyone is successful. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm happy to put my hands up and say not everyone makes that move and it works. They might just go back to mortgage and do very well, and they do that. It's fine. But when it does work, it works really when you give it up. Your mortgage is up. So this is the truth. You've got to you want to be an IFA, to be successful IFA, you've got to be all in on it. You've got to be in a position where you can give your mortgage business up. Doesn't mean you're not doing mortgages. Your business will do mortgages. Of course it will. You have to move you as the IFA need to become an IFA, really, if I'm being honest. So our best firms with us now who've done that transition, I mean, it's taken years for some of them. This isn't something that happens overnight either. You become an IFA, you're not going to give your mortgage license up immediately. Is a balancing act between how you develop it over time, but really, the sort of ideal firm would be one that does bring in admin function, builds a team, has a mortgage advisor with them that then can look after their old book, and essentially then mine that data for you as an IFA and help you develop your IFA business. But it's like starting again, which is why a lot of advisors, it's quite intimidating process. It's quite scary. Because you're like almost going back to the start, but the money you can earn is just sort of like 6 or 7 times the amount you could earn as a mortgage broker. So it's worth it if you do it right. It's just obviously it does take a while, and you've got to give up. You've got to give up that. I believe you have to. I'm sure there's lots of mortgage brokers out there who might listen to go, oh, you're rubbish. I'm a mortgage broker. I do fine as a mortgage broker and an IFA. But look, I'm just saying, by people in our network, it tends to be at the top 10s always full IFAs. That's it.
I get that. Yeah. I like the idea of referring on, maybe getting somebody in to do the mortgages for you. But of course, some mortgages combined with an IFA work anyway. When you're in the equity release world and you're talking about equity release for client, you might be talking about pensions as well. So
and there's also that sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe clients might think, I say it's strange, but if you're like there for everything, does it look like you're a bit of a jack of all trades? You've got to be careful how clients perceive you. I think there's an element of the mystique around an advisor in a way that how you present yourself is very important. And I think you're really focusing on investments and pensions. If that's what you want to do, is better than spreading yourself too thin. I think.
That's an interesting point, though. Before we go to questions, Daniel, just a quick word on authorization, very quickly here.
Yeah.
many of the people on the call are mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers. They're probably with networks or principals that restrict their permissions. Is that quite common, and how do you differ over at New Leaf on that?
Yeah, it is now. It's funny because when we
Yeah.
launched the IFA division in 2014, back then independence was like everywhere. Everyone was independent. I remember people started to get restricted. I remember that like people were like, "Oh, turn those up." Who would go restricted? Like that's ridiculous. Like why would your client want to be your client of you if you're restricted to one fund or you got a minimal panel? And it's funny now because everyone's restricted. It seems like it just feels like that way. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like everyone's restricted. All the other networks seem to just like got their own funds and they've been bought out by providers or whatever. Like I said, nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. It's each their own, and business models work in different ways. But we've just maintained that independence piece, and now it's almost like a niche. Being independent is now a niche where it used to be just normal. I find that quite funny. But yeah, for advisors with us, they will have full sort of autonomy over how they approach customers, how they think about their investment proposition. So we'll help them with that. So we'll help you with like
you got a lot of support there.
It's a big deal still. I mean, there's thousands of funds out there, so you need some help. And that's what the power planning team are so useful. The investment team we have internally are so great because they work with you on all your cases. So obviously that really assists you with like making sure you're making the right selections anyway. The key thing is for the advisors, really, we try and focus you on not worrying about the actual providers you're going to go with. It's more thinking about the outcome for the client. So what is tax wrappers you need? Are we looking to max out ISAs? Is there going to be general investment accounts then to set up after that? Have we got to think about now savings allowances? Because that's become popular now with savings rates going up. If it's estate planning, is there business property relief here? So you're thinking more about the plan, and the advisor is advising on the tax wrappers and the plans for the clients. We can then help you with plugging the gaps of when that plan's in place. We can make sure then you've got the right funds for that plan to make it work.
Brilliant. Okay, before we go to questions, just a quick confirmation though, because that New Leaf allow members to join as mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers, and then segue over to financial advising. Some networks don't allow that. Some networks are just purely mortgage only networks, and they might have a few people online here who are just
it's a big one because we pick up a lot of advisors who join us because they want to be IFAs and they can't do it at their networks.
Got you. Is it quite easy to transfer networks? If somebody's chosen a network, been a mortgage broker for a year or so, is it easy to transfer across?
No, not really. It's not. Let's be honest, it's not. It does depend on the network. Some networks are quite good at exiting. They don't mind. They work with they help you progress and so on. But a lot of networks are very corporate, and they want to get every pound out of that person as they can. Naming no names, obviously, but it can be difficult. It can be difficult depending on where you are. We've got we got a good reputation in the industry. I mean, I don't really like bad mouthing of it because we all work together. We all got our niches, and I think every network out there has got a place. They've all got great clients. I say clients, advisors. They've all got great advisors that work with them, and they all do good for their people generally, I guess. And we were happy to work with other networks where they can't do IFA. So we've got ARs who joined us who have a mortgage business with another network still. So we're not precious on you have to be all in with New Leaf. We can have an IFA with us who's the mortgage advisor elsewhere. Now, it might not be ideal, to be honest, for the advisor, because you've got different compliance regimes. You've got maybe different sets of fees you're paying. It can be a bit more expensive. But yeah, we're happy to work on that basis. And I just want to go back to the point about transitioning over. If you do mortgages to IFA as well, of us anyway, just generally, I'm not saying you have to give up being a mortgage broker immediately or anything. We have, lots of our IFAs are mortgage advisors still as well. So we're very happy for someone to join us and do everything. That's not a problem. We can definitely work with you. But it just tends to be that longer term, you'll find the mortgages will start tailing off as you get more into investments.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes absolute sense. That's a good answer. And let's just click on some questions then, see if we can get some questions from the audience. So anybody who's listening live, if you want to use the chat box to throw a question or two at us, I'm going to add the questions to the scene as well, so that we can maybe see some questions that are coming in. So it'd be interesting to see if we get any live questions coming in from our audience.
I'll put an emoji in there. There you go.
Here we go. A nice smiley coming through there. Okay. All right, a couple of questions coming through from email. Actually, oddly enough, I've got this question about tech here. One somebody's asking about tech because people, of course, have their own advice
Yeah.
systems as mortgage brokers. What sort of tech is provided to a financial advisor?
Well, this is another challenge for our IFAs to get their head around, because we talked about like other challenges earlier, like qualification barriers and all this sort of thing. But actually, one of the big challenges is tech integration as well, and choosing the right tech is really important. There's quite a lot of options out there for advisors, which doesn't really help. I think the mortgage side is quite easy enough. People, generally speaking, most of the tech out there is pretty good for mortgage advisors, and it all sort of sinks into the same research tools. So everyone really uses 27 Tech or Mortgage Brain or TriGold. They're the three big ones we all use. And most CRM tools wrap around those three systems, so it's all quite similar and quite straightforward. But on IFA, it's difficult because it's not like you just got a research system, because you haven't just got 50 lenders you're going to be dealing with, or 100. We're talking about thousands of funds here, so you've got to think about pension comparison tools, cash flow modeling tools. You got to look at analytics, fund analytics tools. We've got to do attitude to risk profiling. We've got to think about capacity for loss profile. That's another thing with clients that we forget about. It's not just fact finding we're doing; it's also that you got to do fact finding. So that's through CRM tools now as well. Live valuations for clients is now becoming a thing to think about, making sure you've got that sort of tech to be relevant. Have you got a decent client portal that they can log into for data protection reasons?
Gotcha.
So that. And then when it comes to then the funds themselves, which platforms are using to help you facilitate transfers of investment assets? Because this is like real people's money here. We got to make sure we do it right and do it on time. So there's loads of moving parts. So you could literally make it all up yourself and put it all together, and it can be a little bit crazy. Or you can choose the right tech partner. And I can tell you, we've been going on this side 8 years now. It's taken us 6 years to actually choose the right one for our network. We finally sort of thought it through, and we've done that. We've gone this big journey where we've taken all these different disparate systems and tools, and we put them together internally for our power planning team, because they do all the work.
Yes, they do.
So it works okay with us, because the advisors just getting out there and talking to clients, and just doing fact finds, and signing up investments, and then doing annual reviews and so on. But really, we need to get to a stage where we have everything in one place. So we've got IntelliFlow coming in now. We're using now. I mean, it's okay to talk about systems. We've done through a thorough DD process for the last 6 years. It's been a long time, but last couple of years has really ramped up, to be honest. But IntelliFlow are a fantastic IFA tool, which links in very nicely for us into what we use for attitude to risk profiling, which is called Dynamic Planner. Okay. So another tool called Dynamic Planner, DP for short. That plugs nicely into it. So there's a lot of benefits for us, and also our power planning unit can. We have a case tracker system for cases going back and forth between advisors and power planners. That can all be internalized into the IntelliFlow CRM as well. So for us, it makes a lot of sense, and it's taken a lot of money and time and investment to get this right. But we're happy to invest in this. We're not putting our fees up or anything. Like it's costing us more money to do it. We know it's going to be worthwhile for the IFAs who join us and who are with us, because it should make their lives easier, makes their lives easier for their clients as well, because they can talk to more customers and spend more time with them.
I think that's great.
Tech integration is really important. So look, there are other systems out there. We've taken a lot of time looking at all of them. We're pretty confident we made the right choice. But we've done that work for you guys. So when you think about tech you're going to use, it's a great question. Actually, it's really about the principle you're going to go with, because the network's going to mandate this anyway. So you really want to interrogate the networks and what have they done to choose a system. How do they come to that decision? How long did it take them to do that? And what's the ongoing support like afterwards? It's not just like, right, here's the system, guys, see you later. What do they do then to make sure you're fully up to speed with it?
Training and coaching and that, because tech is there to do the heavy lifting, isn't it? At the end of the day, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Another question's coming in now. So, what's the cost of all of this? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It's a good question. It is being an IFA is going to cost you more than being a mortgage broker. Just put it out there. Of course it is. But the reward is minimum 6 figures income. There's no point doing it otherwise, to be honest with you.
Right.
So all of our IFAs, our CAS IFAs anyway, the ones we got through the CAS process, they're all over 6 figures easily. Average income per advisor across the whole network is over 6 figures in our network, and because we deal, we like to deal with a small group of people, and we build that wealth in that group. So the quality aspect for us is really important. We charge, our charge is about £600 a month for an IFA. Now that's including all the power planning that goes into it. So this is where we have massive economies of scale. So we recruit big players, big IFAs join us because they pay £200 to £300 a case for power planning support. Generally speaking, that's what it costs to outsource. It's about 200 quid a case at least. Now, you get that with us. So we're giving that away. Yeah. We're paying for all the tech. We're spending a load of money on the tech. So the fees that you're paying us are basically allowing us to deliver our service to you as a support network, compliance systems. But the key thing is the power planning, right? So we can do that. And people say, well, how can you afford it? Because we're paying our power planners, so they cost, because power planners aren't cheap. They're expensive. These guys,
qualified people,
they're expensive. And we're near London. We're battling the London people as well. We're 45 minutes away. They'll earn like double in. Don't tell our power planners. They can earn double in bloody London. No, sorry, I shouldn't say.
No, it's a great point you're making.
I can see that. It's good. It's good fun, that is. But so the point is, reason it works for us is because we are sharing in the income with you as well. Yes. So like a network, we do have a slight retention. Of course, so we can do it because we know that if we get you 6 figures plus, it's worth it for us. It's worth the investment in our power planning team. Whereas external power planners can't do that, can they?
No.
They can only earn per case. They can't just give it away for nothing. No. And obviously from us, from a safety net position, it's good for us as well. So the fee is £600 a month. Our best split for an IFA is 15%. It is a bit, if you're comparing to like a mortgage rate, we can go a bit lower on mortgages, but it's because it costs way more, and we're not charging FCA fees on top. So what we don't do is variable cost fees, where we get our FCA fees through for the year, and then we split between all the firms. So other networks, some networks do that. I don't know if all of them do it, but I know some do that. And I find it a bit untransparent because they don't tell you what the FCA fee is. So I'm sure they don't, but a cynic in me is thinking, are they making money on this? Are they actually getting their FCA fees paid for on top of a percentage split? So often what you'll see is these guys do a very low split. It's like headline rate split, but actually then they start fining you for stuff. They charge you for FSCS fees. They charge you for the FCA fees on top. So it becomes quite expensive. We don't do that. We just have an agreed split. We pay all the FCA fees from what we earn. And we
just remind the audience, SJP stands for, Daniel?
SJP?
Yeah.
There's a network called St James's Place, I believe.
SJP. Yeah, that's it.
St James's Place. Yeah, they're a network where they have their own funds restricted to obviously their own they're vertically integrated is what we call it. So they've got their funds that they use.
Understand them. Another question just come in from one of our audience. This is interesting. I would like to keep my mortgage business and transition to financial advising without hindering my mortgage business. That's a good question.
I know, Giancarlo. Yeah, we've chatted before. I think it's the same guy. I'm pretty certain of that. So yeah, if it is, hi again. No, absolutely right. You can do that, and you can do it without hindering your mortgage business. And I know that if it's the first I'm thinking of, they've got an established business already, not with us. So you can set up an IFA firm with us separately. I would make sure it's a separate limited company. So it could be Giancarlo Wealth, I don't know, whatever, limited as an example. And then your mortgage business can stay as it is. There's no need to move everything over. You can keep everything as it is. But like I said, for it to work really, John, you're going to need to really get into the IFA side and make sure you've got people in your business. And if I think it's who I'm thinking of, you probably will be okay there. You've got admin support. You've got people working with you already. So you'd probably be in a good position to do this, actually.
Okay. Because there will be a lot of people who are making good income from their mortgage business with refinancing and remortgages going on. They want to obviously keep that income because everyone's got bills to pay, and then gradually transition over. But the way I
Yeah.
see this is the first port of call is to get those exams out of the way, and obviously you
Yes.
can do that whilst being a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
Once exams are out of the way, make sure that you belong to a network. Maybe your existing principal, your existing network can migrate you to a financial advisor. If they can't, have a think about moving over, and
Hmm.
then go to the CAS status, get that competent advisor status, which is going to take a while with lots of supervision and
Yeah.
cases checked and further education, further skills development. And then once you become a CAS financial advisor, then you've got to be heavily supervised. There's lots of risk profiling, checking things. CPD, of course, comes into it.
Yeah.
So, and then the important point you made there, Daniel, is that to do this properly, if that's the right word to use, you've got to go all in. You can't dabble in a little bit of financial advising because you like
Mm.
doing your mortgage side, do you?
No.
You can't dabble in that. It's all in. It's a change of mindset, change of dealing with clients, change of fact finding, lots of migrating to a different way of working.
Yeah, I think change, willing to change. That's a key takeaway from
Yeah,
your
yeah.
summary.
Willing
Definitely.
change, willing change. Okay, so we've got no more questions coming in. Before we clock off, Daniel, can you just let people know how they can contact you and
Yeah,
anything?
no, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search me, Daniel Hobbs, and then just connect with me, and we can chat on there. You can go on our website, newleafdistribution.co.uk, which I'll just you can see there is how you spell it. So stick
Yeah,
that in your browser, Google, pop up, and then there's a booking appointment link on our website, which comes straight to my diary. So
lovely.
you can ask for a 30-minute chat. But that's it. Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, you can drop me an email. I'll just type it in the chat box for people online. So
Yeah, nice
if they
one.
want to just connect by email, then just let me know that you were on the call today as well, please. So I know that
Lovely.
you've heard from me already.
Brilliant. Daniel, I really appreciate your time. Thanks ever so much indeed for coming online and answering all the questions. It's been lovely talking to you as always. So enjoy the rest of your day, and
You
we'll
too.
speak so soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.